washing machine all day long. 25 gusting to 30 knots of wind.
Our last video left off on the island of Naxos, Greece, where we spent a relaxing night on shore celebrating our 27th anniversary. The next day, we made our way from the southwest coast of Naxos down to the island of Ios and into the harbor of the same name. This particular harbor doesn't allow anchoring, so we secured ourselves onto the public dock.
We're at the dock in Ios. We arrived yesterday and Meltemi came today, and it's like this huge washing machine all day long. 25 gusting to 30 knots of wind. Water slapping everywhere. And we have another day to stick in there with it.
Watching and waiting from some place up.
We take turns exploring the hilltop town, or the Chora as it's called in Greek, and in between we fit in the tasks of getting groceries, cleaning the boat, and having our laundry done. Oh, and this. It's just amazing that the fuel comes to you down this dock. So we're in Ios. The little fuel truck just drove straight down this dock, and it's going to give us some fuel, some diesel.
Hand in mine, I'll treasure that for as long as I'm alive. You're welcome here, welcome here. Our hearts you hold hostage, that much is clear. You are most welcome here.
We have 3 friends who arrived here by ferry, and together we waited out one more night of the Meltemi on the dock before we headed out.
Has yet to find. Please stay.
We are underway, leaving Ios after being here for 3 nights. And glorious morning here. No wind after having a lot of wind on the dock. And we have our friends Dawn and Shelly and Dan with us. We're taking off to go to Amorgos today, along with most of the dock. Everybody was cooped up.
After a quick stop by Heraclea to show this group of friends the World War II plane wreckage, we sailed the rest of the way to the western end of Amorgos. We hooked around and into Kaloteratissa Beach Cove. We had heard about a shipwreck in a cove northeast of us, so before we set off on a hike, Tom tried to find it with the drone. And he did. I love this technology.
More than a second for you to turn a whole world upside down. Turn this big boat back around. Had you been watching and waiting from some place up above, somehow knowing in this place all these people.
The walk was hot and dry, but the big ship was really interesting to see up close. Afterwards, we were happy to find this tiny bar open and serving ice-cold beverages.
The troubles on your
In the morning, we set off for the island's main harbor, which is located in the center of this long, skinny
A
island.
little bit more wind out of the southwest today, so we're trying to find an anchorage that's protected from that direction, but it's fairly light, about 10 to 15 knots, and we're hoping to get into the town here where it'll be a little bit more protected.
We went stern to the dock. We noticed we were about 10 meters from both a produce stand and a bar. Not bad. After we explored the quaint town, we decided to rent a car and to drive to the south coast to see a monastery which was literally built into a cliff. On the way, we enjoyed lunch and a stroll around this traditional hilltop town.
We're on Amorgos and the town of Chora. It's spelled Chora, but the way we heard them pronounce it is Ora, kind of like Spanish. And we rented a car. This is in the inland part of the sort of center inland part of the island. Gonna go grab some lunch and check out other sites on the island, but this is like one of the main towns.
There's a message drifting in the air. If you listen, you will notice music every.
Crazy cave up in here. Gotta be things that are falling down on a regular basis. Whee.
Never cross the path of a blanket.
Hunger, war, and strife. We can together, all included, build a better life. This bridge is made of hope. By side, hope. This bridge is made of hope.
The monastery of Hosoviotissa is the second oldest monastery in Greece, built in 1017 and renovated in 1088. It is 300 meters above the sea and stands 40 meters high and only 5 meters wide. It has 8 stories. The next stop was the island of Astipalaia, and with this, we were officially leaving the Cyclade island group and transitioning into the Greek island group called the Dodecanese, where we will remain for our final 3 weeks of the summer. So this is the northeast corner of Amorgos. We just crossed around here. The swells are pretty big from a little bit of a north wind, although we feel like they're bigger than they really should be, given that we've only had about 10, 12 knots of wind through the morning. We're on our way down to Astipalaia, and we're taking in these gorgeous cliff rocks and the way that the clouds are creeping over the top of the cliff and holding on. Very pretty.
This bridge is made of hope. Side by side.
Our first stop on Astipalaia was in an uninhabited cove off the north coast. We saw what looked like huge shell casings as we snorkeled around. If anyone knows for sure what these are, please comment on our video, and thanks for that information. That night we had a magical time stargazing into the black night sky, which was completely void of light interference by human activity. The next morning, most of the crew took the dinghy deeper into the adjacent coves and then hiked to a lone chapel sitting by itself in a pasture of grazing sheep.
Oh, one with horns. Those are big horns. Oh, okay. That must be a shelter for them.
To their surprise, the door to the chapel was unlocked.
Yeah.
Back on the boat, it was time to loop around to the south coast of Astipalaia. We found a quiet and very small harbor where we could actually side tie to the only dock in the harbor. A man working on his boat gave the affirmative hand gestures to indicate that we were welcome there. The Greek islands are pretty special in this regard. We walked around the small town, and it was obvious that we were there in the late season when most visitors had already transitioned into back-to-school mode. We watched this guy hand-lining and couldn't take our eyes off the reflection of his boat on the water. The following morning, we wiggled through off-lying islands and into the Chora, or the main town of the island. We secured a place on their town dock and set off to explore. What a wonderful town this was. The main part of the town was high up on the hill, nestled in the saddle between two peaks. We're up on a walkway over above the town of Scala. There's a Greek warship anchored offshore. Our boat is the one farthest to the right down there on the dock, closest to the end of the dock. And this is a lovely town. There's windmills down there. Just a lovely area. The stairs go straight up. One peak of which was topped with a Venetian castle that was built in the 13th century as a shelter against pirates and other enemies. Today, the castle remains offer tremendous views and a cooling breeze as you stroll around and imagine how the inhabitants occupied this space hundreds of years ago. We use this town as a base for friends who were both departing and friends who were arriving. To give you an idea of the size of the airport here, the departing friends boarded the very same plane that our arriving friends disembarked from. They actually shared advice on the island's taxi service as they pass one another in the terminal. When you use the phrase, "it is a small world," in a place like this, that really means something. We are in the castle on top of the hill, and inside they built a bunch of homes and chapels, fortification. 1400, I believe, was the time period that it was opened. On the inside here, you see the shelving unit, an upper floor shelving unit up in there. Pretty detailed construction. Wow, this is way up. Looking out over this beautiful area. They said that a lot of the buildings were 3 stories, so we can definitely see that. As darkness descends, the town's monuments are lit up beautifully. The warm evening air encourages a stroll through the narrow and steep hillside streets.
The stories I've been told, they never seem to leave my mind. On this road that I am on.
Please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notified of new videos. Join us next time as we visit the Dodecanese islands of Kos, Samos, and Kalymnos. These islands share a water border with Turkey, and this proximity introduces some interesting considerations. More on that later.
Across the water from Turkey, so all this area of land across there where that ferry boat is in distance and all that, that's all Turkey. So it's probably one of the closest points, I would imagine, between Greece and Turkey. So here's one of those good lens definitions.
Thanks for watching.